very encouraging, very empowering. So thank you for being here. I'm Dr. Chen. Thank you. I'm Dr. Chen. I've been with New Mexico Cancer Care for 14 years. I've been with this community for 14 years and hope for many more years to be part of it. Yes, yeah. There are a lot of faces here. Some familiar, some not, and we'll introduce ourselves as we go. And we'd just like to acknowledge Mr. Pacheco, who's here from Congressman Ledger's office. Thank you very much. Some of you have Dr. LaRusso as their provider. She's not here because she's out of state, but she's very much a part of this, and in fact, she just sent us a text to cheer us on, so she's very much a part of this. We're all here tonight because we have a stake in what happens if Christus really goes ahead to cancel this contract, to terminate this contract with NMCCA early. Our goal is to have a forum for everybody to have an open, transparent discussion of what's happening, why we got here, and more importantly, what's in the future, what's our hope. And so hopefully we can achieve that. So to get us going, it's my privilege to introduce a veteran of NMCCA, one of its founding partners, Dr. David Snyder.
So I'm going to give a little history of NMCCA, New Mexico Cancer Care Associates. Can you hear me? Okay. So I'm going to give a history of New Mexico Cancer Care Associates. The group was founded in 1994. I became a member of the group in 2000. Over the years, we've had physicians who have come and gone, who have retired, who have moved in and out. But the key thing is that the quality of physician that we have maintained is just exceptional. I don't know of any group such as ours that has maintained the quality of physicians that we have and that we have now today. Soon after I joined the group, we partnered with our radiation oncology associates and built the current cancer center, and we opened in 2003. And we maintained that facility with our radiation oncology partners and with the X-ray associates who came into the building and competed with the hospital and did so very, very well. And when Christus came to the community, they said, if you want to have a cancer program, you have to partner with these guys because they know how to do it. And at that time, there was a very creative and administrator who, along with Dr. Herbert, were able to come up with a very innovative and creative contract that has worked really well for the last 10 years or so. Unfortunately, the administration today is 4 administrations removed from the administration that established the contract. It's a management and professional services contract, and it's worked very well. As it came time to renew the contract, unfortunately the current administration doesn't have the wherewithal to understand the contract, and their first response was to have us work less and have us work more and pay us less. And that didn't seem very good, so then their only solution was for us to be employed physicians. And there are a lot of reasons, which you will hear later on tonight, of why employed physicians are not good for cancer care. And I'm going to give you one example. It has to do with the cost of care. The hospital has 3 advantages so far as the cost of chemotherapy drugs and what they're able to charge and how they're able to purchase them. The hospitals that are not for profit are able to purchase chemotherapy drugs with a 30% discount. It's called 340B pricing. Secondly, that they're able to charge patients just a plain fee when they come in the door. And I think you've probably known that, see that. It's a facility fee, which a private office can't do. And then thirdly, the prices that they're able to charge the insurance carriers are sometimes 700 times those of what a private office could charge. An example, when we made the transition, I had a lot of patients who were on Leuprolide, which is treatment for prostate cancer, and under a private office setting, we would charge $1,500 for a 3-month dose of Leuprolide. When the hospital took over, the charge was $15,000. So, I mean, yeah, most people have insurance, okay, and most people have third-party carrier, and they have supplements, and may not feel that in their pocket, but over the long haul, you feel that in the charges for that you have to pay for your insurance. So it doesn't just go into the sky and not come back. Everybody eventually feels that down the road. I think you're going to hear more examples of why independent or private practice is much more efficient, much more caring, and much superior to a hospital-based setting. Thank you.
I'm going to turn that one off. Okay. Nope. I think they did that on purpose. Thank you all for coming tonight. I was talking to one of my patients today, and I said this was honestly the worst experience I've had in my career going through this. And honestly, when I stepped back and looked at it, it actually was one of the more rewarding experiences I've had too, because of you guys, because of the support that we've seen publicly in letters and in the paper and showing up tonight. I gotta tell you, in a million years, I never thought as a physician I would be asking my patients for help, and I never wanted to be in that position. And the fact that people stepped up and supported us is honestly so touching. Thank you. Just thank you. You know, Dr. Schneider was right. We had a wonderful relationship with Christus for over a decade, and I think it's a great hospital. I think we're very lucky to have 2 hospitals in town now. I think from running a hospital, I think they've done a wonderful job. In 10 years, however, our community has changed a little. It's gotten bigger, and another hospital was built here. And we didn't build it, but we can't pretend it doesn't exist. And that was our point. You know, when there was one hospital here for 150 years, and so you either worked with them or for them, and we made it work, and I think services have really improved. But now there's another facility, and our patients were getting admitted there, they were seeing doctors there, and we had no ability to see them. And our point was, we have to be able to take care of our community. We can't pick lines along facilities any longer. It doesn't make any sense for our patients. And, you know, like it or not, Christus was in a position that they control the majority of the market, and it's difficult to let that go. We understand it. We respect it. We simply said, we don't want to play that game anymore. We did not want to be employed. I mean, if you look out there, a lot of our employees have shown up. Some of our employees have been with New Mexico Cancer Care for over 15 years. I see my patients in the grocery store all the time. This is not about aligning with Christus or Presbyterian. This is about taking care of our community. And we felt that this gave us the opportunity to do that, to become independent, start having really meaningful conversations about value and the cost of care, and continuing care for our patients. And I'm sorry, hospital, but you can't just close your eyes and pretend that time has stopped. Santa Fe is different than it was 10 years ago, and if we don't change with it, we're not doing our job. So I'm going to pass this off to our newest member of the team and let her tell you a little bit about some of the things that are happening currently, and then we'll keep moving, okay?
So one of the reasons we're here is because Christus wanted New Mexico Cancer Care Associates to become hospital employees.
Tell us your name.
I'm Sarah. Hi.
Sarah White.
For us, maintaining an independent practice is really important. We want to have, control over the care that we give. We don't want to be managed by an administration that isn't quite as close to the patients as we are. We want to be able to provide great patient care. We want to have that control. So when we told that to Christus, they said, okay, your contract's up May 27th. They've since changed that to July 15th, but nonetheless, 4,000 plus cancer patients are going to be without their providers, without their treatment plans. Patients on clinical trials, those trials won't exist for them anymore. We can't let Christus have all the control over our patients and providers' choices.
So, I heard the 4,000 patient figure before. Are those the other hospital's patients? Are these all of your patients? I mean, these are the kinds of details that I can get into.
So, the 4,000 patients are really patients in the New Mexico Cancer Care roster that are taken care of by New Mexico Cancer Care. And in reality, we don't want to say, this is Christus patient, this is New Mexico Cancer patients. At the end of the day, we're custodians of the patient's care, right? But so we are custodians of 4,000 patients' care. To give you an idea of the magnitude, each month, just in treatment and infusions alone, we're probably running anywhere from 1,400 to 1,600 infusions a month. So that's the magnitude of the treatment that we are doing at the cancer center.
Hi, I'm Dr. Gu. So I wanted to talk to you about this key question that's been asked of me and a lot of my partners is, why does early termination affect us? Like, we're not happy with that. So we all understand that our contract with the hospital runs to the end of the year, and they're arbitrarily moving it up first to end of May and not to mid-July. Well, the main reason is that for us to be an independent practice, we have to be able to get the, your insurance to okay us to see you and to treat you. And that is a lengthy process. We have to start all over and go through all the different insurance programs and go through their application. And we have no control over that process. So, and it's known to everybody. So that's why in the contract, we actually built protection in it to allow at least the 6 months to, for us to wind down and to get ready, which we can totally do if the contract goes to that full term. So why did Christus move that up? Because they know that. They move the deadline up, so we don't have time to do that. So they know that they're creating a gap in patient care. So that's the answer.
Who do you rent from currently? Is it Chris? Who owns the building that you are in currently?
Can you repeat the question?
He asked, he asked who owns the building that we are currently in. Okay, is this okay? In 2003, the building was built by a developer and leased by New Mexico Cancer Care, X-Ray Associates, and a radiation partner from Albuquerque. When Christus partnered with us in 2012, those leases were signed over to them so they could bill according to government regulation. The deal is that if we split up in the future, if we decided to go our separate ways, those leases were to be returned to us, and it's pretty clear. Right now, unfortunately, they're signaling that they're not interested in returning those leases to us. And so this early termination, it's about insurance companies, but it's also about making sure we have the physical space to take care of everyone. So it's an excellent question and an unfortunate added wrinkle.
So they said that you have breached the contract? Is that why they're terminating it early? Or what?
There is a contract dispute.
Let us answer this with Dr. Chan. Is that okay?
Sure, that's fine.
Okay.
Please repeat the question.
So he asked, Christus has alleged that we've breached the contract and that's why they're terminating it early.
So I think it's very clear, right? I mean, it's on the papers that they're alleging that we breached the contract, and it's a reason for termination for cause. And the reason that they've cited is administrative responsibilities that apparently we did not fulfill, such as, you know, not going to committee meetings for X numbers, so on and so forth. So in reality, you know, we have actually already answered those claims and proved to them that they were not accurate, number one. Second, if you really think about it, we've had a partnership with them for a decade. We've run the cancer center. It's been a high quality program. We did not hear anything about, you know, our being derelict on our administrative duties. And really, it's not a reason for termination for cause even. This is something that needs to be discussed, because otherwise, patients' care is really put into a, you know, in a position of danger. So the simple answer is they allege we had a breach. We did not have that breach. We've already answered it, but they're pushing through regardless.
Might I ask what your strategy is? Because I used to do contracts. What your strategy is to counter these allegations?
Excellent, Ms. Betancourt. I can tell you that at this point, we have a double lifetime dose of dealing with legal people, so that's all in the works. I mean, you know, a part of it, really, our strategy is going through the legal system. We've been back and forth with their lawyers, and a large part of it is, you know, this is the strategy. We have to engage the patients. We all have a stake in this, and we're hopeful that if Christus sees that the community is behind this, that the community, for the community, that a good outcome from this is important, that they rethink their strategy, that they'll put aside short-term business goals and really come to mediation and come in good faith. That's a big part of our strategy.
Thank you.
What happens, I read in the paper that they don't even have a facility started yet. What is that about? Why do they have to do this so quickly if they don't have a facility started yet?
I mean, that's so I'll repeat the question, I'm sorry. She asked, I keep forgetting, I apologize. If Christus is planning on building a new facility, they've announced it, they've announced that the completion date is several years from now. Why would they make this move early if they're not ready? And very honestly, that was something that took us all by surprise also. About a week after they decided to start another cancer clinic upstairs, they made this rather large announcement, and we really felt that the announcement of a new cancer clinic was directed at our group and our partners and any other physicians that were contemplating independence rather than really making a proactive move for the community. This is not Field of Dreams. You don't build an $80 million facility and hope oncologists and patients show up.
Well, I think you all need to call that number, and that CEO woman, I did. Because she needs to hear from the individuals ourselves.
Yes, sir.
Can you explain what Nexus Health is and what its relationship to the Cancer Care Group is?
So today, Nexus Health is, he asked what Nexus Health was, as it's come up in the newspaper several times. Currently, Nexus Health is an independent orthopedic group in town. Several of the surgeons from Christus decided to leave an employed practice and started an independent practice called Nexus Health. They've been in business and seeing patients for several months. What Nexus Health hopefully represents is a strong, independent practice and choice for providers in this community. It really has no relationship to the current discussion.
So you are not members of Nexus Health?
My partners are not members of Nexus Health, no.
But you are not? You said your partners, what about you?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
I am.
And Nexus Health started the ortho program at Presbyterian.
That's correct. That's correct.
What was the question? What was the statement? That you are a part of Nexus?
I have been, yes. The orthopedic surgeons, when they started talking about this, it's difficult to go from an employed position to an independent position without experience. And so it is a practice location. They are not aligned with either facility right now. They're an independent practice.
But they only do surgery at Presbyterian.
Actually not correct, sir. I'm sorry. Dr. Garcia fixed a hip the other day at Christus.
My name is Suzanne Schmidt. I am a patient of Dr. Chan's. My name is Suzanne Schmidt. I'm a patient of Dr. Chan's. I can break my own confidentiality. I want to thank you, first of all, for the quality of care that you provide to me. I had a number of questions for Christus. Since they weren't going to be here tonight, I submitted them in writing and got written answers, and I have a couple of follow-ups. They tell me that I am legally a patient of Christus, and I would like to know if that is your lawyer's interpretation.
Nobody owns any patient.
That's what they told me. That's how I feel, but that's what they told me.
Yeah, I think that's how, it's true that Christus, we are seeing patients using the Christus electronic health record system. So they are custodians of your health records at this point. But as a patient, nobody owns you. And, my patients are here, and I always tell you, even for your treatment plans, I tell you, you are the master of your body. You stop treatment. You're not selling your soul to me. You're not signing in blood. You can stop. Nobody owns you. So I don't know if there's really such an entity that can legally own a patient. So flat inaccurate, I would say. Yes.
Getting back to Nexus, is that part of Nexus that is out of Texas? There's a Nexus LLC out of Texas.
Is Nexus related to an entity in Texas? It is not in any way. It is an independent physician organization here in Santa Fe. Yes, ma'am.
Since Christus has a whole battalion of lawyers, and I fear that the Cancer Center only has one, perhaps, or more. why not employ more? I have a suggestion for someone who I think would be very buffet in favor of the cancer center.
The question was, if Christus has a whole cadre of lawyers and we have one, maybe we could use some help, essentially. So first of all, our lawyer is really smart. So I'll go ahead and give him some credit. But we can talk afterwards, and we really appreciate it. It is a little bit of a battle of resources, to be honest with you, and the delays and all of the legal kind of nonsense has its own goal. Go ahead.
So, totally excuse my naivety and ignorance on all of this, but all I can tell you is that I'm really stressed out about this. I'm really scared about this for what he's going through, and I'm wondering, I don't know anything about this, but would a class action lawsuit over this help your situation at all? Does anyone know anything about this? Is that helpful? Because I'm pissed off and just want to do something, and I feel so helpless.
So we truly understand your concern. I mean, you know, the uncertainty that this has brought, the letters that you have gotten from Christus, I think, has not really clarified anything. And just to be clear, you know, in the same light that we have no access to your contact legally, because again, Christus owns those systems. So that's the reason why we have a media presence, a social media presence that we did not have before, in order for us to reach out to patients. Is a class action suit what we're looking for here? I mean, realistically, our goal really here is to put patient interest first over, you know, business strategy. And we're hopeful with this mediation that Christus will come to sense, will come in good faith in order to put patient interest first, and that, you know, a long drawn out legal battle does not have to happen. So we're not there yet. Hopefully we won't get there. I mean, this is really why it is important that Christus knows, you know, the community is watching, that you know, they cannot really waste the goodwill, the good reputation that they have built over the years. This can be done fairly, reasonably. It can be done honorably if they can, you know, come to terms and honor the obligations in the contract.
Well, if you get there, I'm your person.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, first of all, Christus should be here, right? I mean, it's a disgrace that they're not here to at least hear this, because we're all on the same side. My question is, if they do come to their sense, well, whatever you want to say, if they honor their contract, I mean, why are they relating on I thought a contract in this country was a contract, and that you'd be legally in trouble if you broke it ahead of time. We are not a commodity, we are patients and carers. So my question to you is, if the contract does go through till December, will the cancer center be ready and able to continue? Will that give you the time you need to continue with the patients that you have? The 4,000 of us are dependent on you.
And keep going.
So, you know, a fully operationalized cancer center is not just really about billing capacity. Christus knows that. Under our contracts, they are obliged, one, to provide enough time and resources so that an orderly and thoughtful transition of patient care happens. Among the other things that they are obliged under those contracts is that, you know, from inception, our contract has already contemplated that when a partnership like this dissolves, Christus is obligated to make New Mexico Cancer Care whole again as an independent practice. That means reverting those leases to us in order for us to have full treatment infusion capacity. So is 6 months time to do it? Yes, I mean, the contract actually had that minimum time period to set all that in motion. But what has happened here when they informed us about that. So can we operationalize with 6 months with something, with a very thoughtful plan? We think we can. Let me ask here, Dr. Boland.
Yeah, my name is Mark Bolander. I'm a patient at the Cancer Center. I have a little more medical exposure than most. Before I came to Santa Fe, I was an orthopedic surgeon at the Mayo Clinic for 30 years. And it deserves the good reputation it has, not because I was there, although I tried to help, but because they have a mantra. They have a saying, they have a goal that guides what they do, and that goal is the needs of the patient come first. This wouldn't be a problem at the Mayo Clinic because this clearly is not putting the needs of the patient first. And I would think it's clear that St. Vincent's doesn't have that mantra. And I would think that the issue that, from my perspective, needs to be more in the forefront of discussions and needs to be more, needs to be appreciated for how important it is the process of making sure that the needs of us, our needs, the patient's needs, are firmly taken care of in both the short term and taken care of in the long term. I'm very happy with the care I've gotten at the Cancer Center. I've not always been happy with the care that I've gotten at St. Vincent's. I'm not sure that I have the degree of confidence that I would want to have my care transferred to Christus St. Vincent. So I think there is a short-term care issue that we've heard about. I think there's also a long-term care issue. And I think that those issues need to be part of the discussion, because I think in the end, those are the things that are going to be important to us as patients with severe diseases, and it's what's important to the success of the Cancer Center. It is what has made Mayo Clinic the great institution it is, the needs of the patients.
I was just thinking the same thing.
I actually have a couple questions. Number one, if you have social media, don't just put it on your Facebook page or anything. Use things like Santa Fe Bulletin Board. When I posted this on our Facebook under Santa Fe Bulletin Board, I got over 200 people responding. So use social media. It's one way you equalize David and Goliath. Secondly, I would like to know a little more specifically about the mediation process. Who are the mediators? How do they get picked? How long does the process take? When does it start? And finally, I can't thank you enough for the care you have given us.
She asked about the, excuse me? The main question was about how the mediation process will work, the timeline and who's involved. And also a recommendation that when you use social media, post it on the Santa Fe Bulletin Board. I think that's what are you saying she didn't say that? Or, oh, she just said, okay, she's just saying try to post it on social media. From our standpoint, we're rookies at mediation. We don't quite understand the entire process either, to be honest with you. We were told initially that there were 2 mediators in New Mexico for us to choose from. The lawyers had a discussion and they chose one that both sides were comfortable with. It starts Monday. We have 2 days reserved to work this out. I don't honestly know if I'm allowed to say who the mediator is. No. It's an independent mediator. But I don't think that's appropriate. And the only other thing I would say is you know, there's two issues, everyone. We have current issues with Christus regarding the space and the other oncology clinic that they're setting up and issues like that we have to discuss. And then we have to get down to the brass tacks about how are we going to take care of these patients. And that's the goal of the mediation. We'll be happy if we can get out with those issues solved. I'm so sorry that this is scary. I really am. I don't think any of us ever thought we would be here having this discussion. And if we have to take care of you in a mobile home in the Walmart parking lot, we're going to do it. Okay? I don't know who to go to.
We'll bring Anna along.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, my name is Jane. There's a subject that's kind of awful, and I'm sure nobody wants to talk about it. But my experience is that all my medical bills of any kind go to Christus to be paid. Their bookkeeping department is horrendous. I don't know if anybody else has had a problem, and I don't know how you make the switch if you're able to. Are you going to gather all those, and who owes what to whom? I mean, every single month is a mistake. Maybe every week there's a mistake. I'd like to see a show of hands. Do you all have trouble with the bookkeeping department at Christus? Yes. You will. I am so sorry about that because it makes it all very unpleasant.
It does.
It really does. Even a $30 visit to the doctor, that's part of what I do through my insurance. If it's not my regular doctor, but a specialist, it always is wrong. It's always wrong, and I don't know why. But I just think we ought to think about these kinds of things. It's not for us to do, it's for you to do. But I think they have to be thought about when we have this kind of discussion. Because I don't want them handling anything for me anymore.
All right, Ms. Bautista.
Thank you for being here. I know. The New Mexico Regional Cancer Center, the New Mexico Regional Cancer Center has made it possible for me to continue living after a diagnosis of stage 3D lung cancer, which metastasized. I came here in 2020 because a world-famous doctor and the Mayo Clinic was here to support us. In January, my family and I heard that they were going to be building a new cancer center, and we were excited. We thought, wow, this is really great, because we knew the patient load was heavy. And then there was little communication after that. In February, my world-renowned, wonderful oncologist retired. I had seen him only 3 weeks prior, and we were working on my next treatment. So his retirement was a shock. The New Mexico Regional Cancer Center didn't toss me out. In a matter of a week, I was transitioned over to a specialist, Dr. Herbert, and my wonderful nurse practitioner, Ryan. In March, I heard that my pulmonary doctor, Ms. Distian, had left the pulmonary center at St. Christus. I received from Lillian Montoya a letter on April 14th, which was addressed, "Dear Patient." Not Maria, not Miss Bautista. Upon receiving this letter, many of the patients at the cancer center felt that we were blindsided, and suddenly our care was up in the air. The letter that Miss Montoya said, in case you haven't heard, in the local rumor mill, right, like we're running around, that Christus was now separating from the New Mexico Regional Cancer Center. Being as far along as I was, it was terrifying. And that there was going to be a new contract which assured that our infusions and our labs and our radiation would continue. Our infusion lab and patient care was minimized. And to us, it's more than a blood draw. It's more than seeing my doctor. It's a continuum of care and not a spot check. When Dr. Mesdistian left, there was no communication to me, no assignment or transition to another physician. And I found via quote, the rumor mill, that he was gone. At this moment, almost 4 months later, they still have not assigned my care in the pulmonary area and have neglected to fulfill their commitment. Instead, we were transferred to Hope Wayne, and they said, if you have any questions, call that number. And we want you to know that this is keeping within our ministry. On May 7th, I received another letter. This time it was directed to "Dear Valued Patient." Suddenly, I am addressed as a valued patient. Not Ms. Bautista, not Maria, but now I'm a valued patient. So I said, cost $4,000 times blah, blah, blah per month. Oh, we're building the new cancer center. In that letter, it advised us that we did not have to attend this forum and did not hear where, because we were still uninformed. Patient-centered care is involving us because it's about us, because we are the patients that make it really all happen. We felt at times like we were pawns in someone's chess game. The New Mexico Regional Cancer Center brought excellence to Christus. I'm 75 years old, and I know the old St. Vincent's Hospital. As an older woman, I also know Lillian Montoya. I've known her friendships, I've known her relationships, and I've known that she's wanted to have a step forward in her career. And as women, we all know that that's always been a struggle. But I thought she was going to do different things. It looks like now cancer patients and fancy sound bites is what she's more concerned about, because she says she's a power broker. All of my visits at the New Mexican Regional Cancer Center, pre-COVID, after COVID, pre-fire, after fire, and even still raging, has always been about health, social distancing, cleanliness, and most important, the one-to-one interaction with every single person in every single department who says, "Hi Maria, how are you doing today?" That is more than a move to a building to people who are now in 4-stage terminal lung cancer. I got out of bed today from my hospice, with my hospice permission, to come. And I'm glad I did, because I haven't been able to eat anything for the last 2 months that was solid, and I ate grapes. And there was a donut. At my recent visit to the ER, because I had an incident and I had to go the last 9 days to the emergency room, there was no one-to-one. I was reduced to a number. And for me, the whole juggling game, like a bad divorce, it's with the patients being used as their bargaining chips. And I'm completely, totally disregarded in the process. So again, I thank you and our doctors for making it possible for even to stand before you today. Thank you.
Are any of the governmental oversight, medical oversight organizations, medical board, et cetera, involved in this at this point?
As far as we know, they are not. Again, we're trying to go through mediation and hope to have a good outcome from this. I mean, it hasn't escalated to that degree. Hold on, okay? I think Ms. Dean has a question.
So I'm sorry, a lot of this is even new to my doctor who's here. I've been part of the New Mexico Cancer Care Association, what's the name? For many, many years. What I have, I was born with. What I have, I'll live through. Because I have family in my New Mexico Cancer Care Association. I started with a different doctor, Dr. Kubica. Maybe other people remember him. He said to me, "I'm really tired of people dying. I need to find a way to make this better. I need to do research." And he went to another hospital. I found my new doctor, and she started to help me. It's family. From when I walk in the door, and Christopher, is he here? Christopher!
Yeah, he's here.
Hi, how are you? Happy to see you. See you again. Oh, how funny. So this is my 5th dog. Because in 34 years, they die.
I'm here,
So my question is, how do we start again? How do we have a person who knows to see, is there something different about you today? Maybe you're not feeling, you feel bad, you look okay, but what are you doing today? worst problem. But now she sees me signing. Now she sees me using a different form of communication. But that's for a different thing. But if this is my cancer family, where do I find that? Thank you.
I'm looking around the audience. I'm a cancer patient. In fact, I'm about the only one I think that's bald around here. I guess
really.
you all regrew your I'm seeing a lot of people who are obviously been a long time in the community and everything. One person who should be susceptible to being talked to since she's running for election is our dear governor. Seems like a place to start. The Roundhouse, it's like down the road there. I actually live 2 hours away, but it's down the road. Seems like a lot of people could just get busy there and bug these people. What do we pay them for? And the other point I will make is for the mediation. Oncologists do not grow on bushes, under trees, or in the soil. There's a shortage of oncologists. There's a shortage of all medical people. So basically, if Christus St. Vincent really gets stupid and manages this, they don't have oncologists.
Well,
duh. It just doesn't quite make sense to me. Though we're talking power, money, privilege, whatever, yeah. But if you have no oncologists, you can't run a cancer center. I mean, it's that quick. And then the patients can really squall. I'll be one of them. I shriek. There you go.
So just to be clear, I think, based on Christus's press release, they have, I think, been able to hire new oncologists, as difficult as that is, because they do have the resources. But we really don't think it's right either way. We're not just, patients and doctors are not just cogs in the wheel that it's not a plug and play. Even if there are oncologists to take our place, the point really of the matter is there are relationships at stake. There are treatment plans that have been thoughtfully designed for each patient. It's not fair, it's not right, and it's frankly dangerous to separate patients from their physicians, separate them from their patient care. So,
I just want to, I don't know if you guys read what Lillian puts out, but I read everything. I used to be a community organizer in Bayview Hunters Point in San Francisco, so I read everything. And what they said was that if you're a patient at Christus, a cancer patient here, then you can look at your services. That's what they said in their last letter, that you're not going to be cut off until the contract's over. Now, the question is, when is the contract going to be over?
That's my question.
The question, and that's what you're fighting for, is that at least have the fighting chance to put together your organization, your operations, so that you can carry on. I think it's horrible that they would cut out people from Presbyterian, whether it's 10% of your patient load or 15 or 20, because that forces people to go to Albuquerque. Where else to go? And I would be pissed off if I had to go to Albuquerque for one more thing. I'm just thinking how you can organize a community to get more bang for your buck.
Yes, sir.
When you become independent, will you be part of the Mayo Network as you are now? Will we still have access to the Mayo specialists as we get through Christus? And then the second part is Mayo has obviously been mentioned very favorably tonight. You know Mayo very well. You know they're the tops in the country. You know that Mayo, MD Anderson, Sloan Kettering, Dana-Farber, all of those are nationally known integrated cancer centers where the physicians are employees. None of them have independent practice groups. So just something to think of.
No, I think that's an excellent point. I'm not sure any of us would really confuse Christus with any of those names.
No, but when you talk about the long term, isn't that what Christus is trying to do? Become an integrated system which nationally has been proven to be the preferred model for our screwed up, you can't even call it a system of care.
I think we would probably differ on that long-term goal. That's all I can really say. You know, all of us trained all over the country, all over the world, and we have a network of trusted colleagues, places we call. I was on the phone with MD Anderson today. I was on the phone with the University of Colorado today. And we all sit together and work on these cases together. Cancer care is enormously complex. Yeah, the Mayo Clinic network, it's a wonderful relationship. We're not knocking that in any way, shape, or form. The truth is that we work every day to put these treatment plans together with national guidelines, with our partners, with trusted colleagues around the world. And that doesn't go away because of a soundbite or a sticker on an ad. It's just, that's not the way medicine works anymore, thank God, right? You're supposed to get the same quality of care no matter where you live. You don't have to wake up one day and say, geez, I wish I was diagnosed in Houston, right? I mean, that's why we do this. So I appreciate the question, but medicine, as we've said, is changing, guys.
So to be more specifically, my labs go to Mayo for interpretation. If you become independent, will my labs still go to Mayo for interpretation, or are they going to go to some other nondescript lab?
Well, I honestly don't know your situation. My assumption is that your labs get sent there to run on their machines.
Well, I get reports from a Mayo doctor.
Yeah, it's simply about having the machines. I don't quite know how to answer that. I'm sorry.
So just to be clear, I understand what your question is about your labs going to the Mayo Clinic. So it goes to the Mayo Clinic simply for one reason. Christus's lab is contracted to Mayo as a reference lab. There is a sign out from their pathologist if they run some specialized tests like flow cytometry and other things. In reality though, that doctor who signs out that result doesn't really know you. In the end, that responsibility falls on your oncologist to interpret that result and integrate that into your plan of care. So I think it's very different.
So I just wanted to say a word about the comparison of kind of the goals of a community regional cancer program as opposed to a large referral center. I mean, they are resources for us that we use, and we use them all day long. And if I don't know a surgeon in Colorado that does esophagus, I go to one of my partners and say, who are you using? And then we collaborate. But I want to make one additional point about employed physicians, okay? I believe in the independent practice of medicine because I believe that physicians should come to the community and invest and have roots, invest in their practice, have ownership of their practice so they don't move. In the first 10 years I was here, between 2000 and 2010, there were 23 general surgeons who came and left as employed physicians in Christus. And I think that if you look at the turnover of whatever specialty or primary care, it's like a revolving door. And that's bad for medicine, it's bad for patients, and that's why we're fighting to do what we're doing.
I'll be quick. I too can give my name. I'm really disappointed that Christus isn't here because I have a good question for them. My name is Cindy. I've been a patient, Dr. Herbert's. I feel so well taken care of. All right, Christus, have you done a community needs assessment Because what this community needs is it needs behavioral health. I think you have 9 beds total in your hospital, and you need substance abuse help. You don't need another cancer center. I know cancer makes money, but if you're really concerned about the community and your ministry, then take care of what this community needs to have taken care of.
Good evening. I'm a cancer survivor twice. Both of the cases were very complicated. And I've come here from Las Vegas to support my family because all the team has become my family. And I want my family to be happy. If my family is happy, I'm happy too. So I want just to come to see their smiles, their involvement, and them showing their knowledge and qualifications just to treat us. And being treated twice and become cancer survivor. I'm a researcher now, I become a researcher, and my research is connected with cancer survivors. I'm writing about myself, about our family, and I really want to support them. Thank you very much. It's just my choice to say thank you for their involvement, for all their treatments organized. And I want next time just to go through my checkup, so just seeing them smile and being able to help me. Thank you. Thank you.
I don't need it. It's nice we're going to put this on. It's nice we're going to put this on social media, sign petitions. But maybe we should take it a step further. In my opinion, action speaks louder than words. How about we all show up at the hospital, do a little picket, a nice peaceful demonstration, wheelchairs, oxygen. Maybe they might get the idea. If anybody can't hear me, let me know. Let's all pick a date and show up.
Thank you, Dr. Gu, for my treatment. My name is Maggie Regal. I've been here a lifetime, and I want to go to the worst case scenario. What is the worst case scenario if you can't mediate? What is the worst case scenario if the contract is dissolved by July? What happens at that point? What happens to the lease? Where do you go? What do we as patients then do?
So the worst case scenario is that really if Christus gets its way, gets all that it wants on the table, and is not fair about this mediation, we'd be forced to take up our legal recourse. But we do understand and we're realistic that a legal recourse is likely to take time, and we're hopeful that we don't go to that. If really nothing comes out of it, the reality is that if they're not able to give us a viable way to practice, we cannot practice. I know that, on Christus's update, they say, we told New Mexico Cancer Care we'll do their billing for them. They know very well that operationalizing a cancer center is not just about billing. So the reality is, if they don't really give us a viable option, we can't practice, and unfortunately, in the short term, they win. We all lose. So, what happens to patients? The unthinkable will happen. There will be delay in treatments, there will be delay in the transition of care. So this is why we can't make it happen, and we're hopeful that Christus will see reason through this.
And what happens to you, the physicians?
New Mexico Cancer Care will always be here. We've been in this community for a long time. We're not going to be bullied out of this community. We're going to be here. What we need What we need is a realistic timeline to make that transition. What we need is time to set up a viable independent practice. What we need from Christus is a level playing field. That's what we need. Okay, ladies first, and then you, sir.
Hello, I'm a cancer patient, Dr. Scott Herbert, and very happy with the results. I'm here still recuperating, but almost there. We'll get there eventually. Not 100%. Remember that, not 100%. But I think we talked about the cancer community. It's been brought up. And I am from the Valley, Espanola. And I just don't see people here from the Valley that I recognize. And when I'm at the cancer center with my treatments, I saw a lot of people there from the Valley. My suggestion, you need to get out further. Yes, we got letters, but not everybody reads them. And in the Valley, we do not have internet in a lot of locations. We don't have that. You need to get out the Sun, the Rio Grande Sun, the local newspaper. It hasn't been in the local newspaper. You need to get it out better because they would be here. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I was raising my hand for my wife.
That's what I just did.
We're a team.
Can I ask a question, please? Christus has been very open and active about talking about how you guys have violated the contract in both their letters and in the newspaper coverage that I've seen. In your view, how is Christus violating the contract? And we should know they're making it very, very plain to all of us that you guys are violating the contract, but there has not been any response to what they're doing other than canceling a contract that should go until December 30th and trying to cancel it earlier. That seems like a violation to me. But what else are they doing in violating the contract? And this should come out in the mediation, I would hope, next week.
Are you an attorney?
No.
Oh.
How much time do you have?
No, it's a fantastic question. It really is. And to some extent, you know, this thing, it gets a little ugly, but it's a fair question, okay? When we were a very successful private practice and Christus came into the community, we worked with Bruce Tassin, who was the chief operating officer at the time, then CEO, and then he moved on to larger health systems. And we built a relationship with him over several years and worked with him to set up this contract. Our position at that point was, we think that together we can do great things in this community. There's one hospital, there's one cancer group, let's do it. At the same time, we acknowledged what we would be giving up and risking in that relationship, because it is not easy for a group of providers to restart. So we have certain protections put into that contract, that during the life of the contract, we would be their cancer providers. They wouldn't set up another clinic, right? Because we're working with them. Well, they did that. We said that we've worked so hard to recruit a talented team of individuals and a talented staff. Again, our staff, some of them have been here longer than I've been here. That had enormous value. We said, you can't hire our doctors, you can't hire our staff to work for you. They did both of those things. And in, I think, early January, we sent them a letter and said, hey guys, this is not kosher. We have a very distinct dispute resolution process to talk about. We would like to move through it to address these issues. And the next letter we got was a termination of our contract.
Well, they did that with the nurses too, went on strike.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sorry to interrupt, but some of the question you asked him was answered earlier. I have a real big concern as both a patient as well as a user of insurance, as we all are. We've all been told at one time, or we all know somebody who's been told, oh, you can't go see Dr. X because he's not part of our plan. You have to go see Dr. Y. I mean, if it didn't happen to you, it's happened to somebody you know. People who want to go to the cancer center here are told because they have Presbyterian health insurance that they have to go to the place in Rio Rancho. And I have a friend who went to MD Anderson for 2 years before she ultimately passed away, requiring all kinds of fundraisers to get there and to be treated. If, let's say, hypothetically, all of you get split up after this mediation, and some of you go to Nexus and some of you stay with the association that you're now employed by, and Blue Cross or Molina or whoever comes along and says, well, this group is too new. We're not going to enter into a contract with them for care, which means that even if I want to continue to see you, my insurance company is saying, no way, Jose, you know, you have to go see Dr. Y. So everybody here must realize by now that insurance companies rule the world in the United States. And so we have to also address the insurance commissioner of the health plans, don't you think? That would be a useful thing to find out what and who they would support and how. You know, maybe the governor has her power, but I think that the insurance commission has much more power. And they can help us, you know, find our way, can help you hopefully find your way to stay as you are, because I've been treated for 2 different cancers also, and I can't imagine going anywhere else. And I'm so grateful for all of you, and you know, everybody in the cancer center. I would come to see you in a mobile home too.
Yeah, that's a wonderful question. And Presbyterian senior plan patients are not contracted with our cancer center, and they are forced to drive to Albuquerque, which is a vulnerable population. We honestly felt that was the canary in the coal mine. And we went to Christus at that time and said, this is a problem. This is a real problem. Because you have community members that are traveling back and forth for care that is 10 minutes away from their homes. So the second piece of that is we're never splitting up. Okay? That I can promise you. We will continue as an independent practice in this city, serving both facilities and taking all insurances.
But they have to take, it has to go both ways, and they may or may not, and I hope to God they do take you, you know. So we have to lobby the insurance companies as well. I really feel, and I'm a provider too, so I know I have fought with insurance companies for my wheelchair patients, you know, so we could get the right seating system. And I've gone to bat numerous times, and I know you will too, and I will for you.
No, it's fair. We feel pretty confident that the insurance companies will be fine with us. The point is that we're not splitting up. We're not splitting up from our patients. We're not splitting up from our foundation partners. Okay? That's not changing. We have a couple, like, you want to do a couple quick questions? I've been told to kind of wrap it up a little bit.
We have time for one more question.
One more question. Okay.
I'd like to piggyback onto what 2 people have talked about. The gentleman in the back who suggested the picket, the picketing at Christus. I also offer my house which sits next to the cancer center. And we can go out in the median strip there, and then there's the school there, I've forgotten what it's called, the Sage Academy. And then the lady who was here, I believe she's left now, from Española, who said that we needed to get the word out to more people. I quite agree. Dr. Gu had apprised me of the fact that the Santa Fe Reporter was a much more amenable to information about Christus. I would suggest letters to the editor of the Santa Fe Reporter. We might as well go with the Albuquerque Journal and whatever anybody else can think of. I don't know the local newspapers, but... Sure.
I wanted to thank you guys for fighting for our care, for fighting for us, for fighting to make sure that
Well, thank you for everybody for coming, and I know we're short of time, and there's still questions and concerns, and we'll be here around the Botanical Garden, but I think we have to wrap the facility. So thank you very much.